cancellations for parts 1 and 2. And whereas when the units don't cancel, like it might be in radians, but right now we don't have to worry about that because right now in grade 11 we don't use radians. So sometimes I might use p equals 2 pi over k as my equation, and if that's the case if we're also using radians. And for radians, the difference is when there are no units for your x, then that means that the units are in radians if there are no units usually. But otherwise, at least in grade 11, we're using degrees anyways, okay? So I feel like there is a lot of overlap between lesson 3 and 4. So this I print screen from lesson 3. So if I was to do, like, let's say this question really quickly, maybe this one, B, I had to factor the k out and then made sure I divided both by 2. I got 2 bracket x minus 30. So I grabbed each part. That's my a, that's my k, that's my, did I get that right? No, that should be by d. Yeah, sometimes I make mistakes and that's what I have to watch out for. This should be my d. Well, yeah, that's fine actually. And then the c is 0. That's fine. So I did get it right at the end. So a is 2.5. That means that is my amplitude. 2 is my k, and then d is 30, which means it's going right by 30. This is c equals 0. That is the axis. And so I find that describing my transformation doesn't actually help me that much for my sinusoidal graphs and this unit itself, just because there's kind of like a shortcut to sinusoidals, and that's why I'm using this information instead, right? So I'm saying that because this is the vertical shift up or down, that is c equals 0 as the axis, and that is the graph that you're going around. That is your mean value. The absolute value of a, that is your amplitude, that's 2.5. And then because the sign value, that was a positive, we're going to go up and then down like so. I found the max by doing 0 plus 2.5, the amplitude, and then 0 minus 2.5, the minimum. This is a way you can find the k value, the period based on your k value. Let's see. And the difference is because I did have a shift, a horizontal shift to the right. That means I have to shift right 30 and then start my graph. And so it's a lot easier when you draw your graph. Basically, you draw your axis first and draw your like units, scales first, and then you draw your graph, which I showed a lot from the previous lessons. And then once I find that first one, before it was kind of easy because I went, okay, first one, and then I went right to my period value, right? And I got 480. But when I have a shift, that means I can't just put like the 180. I have to do 30 plus 210, and then you work it out. So that's kind of like the quick version of it. But if you notice, all of this is just practice of drawing. So I would probably look at some of my previous videos on how to draw it and see if everything kind of lines up. And keep in mind, you could also use Desmos to double check. And so this is my like short lesson overview for Unit 6, Lesson 4.